So this strategy is kind of evil, but it regularly yields me 40 to 60% in annualized returns. So this is something most of the crypto investors do not understand. I'm going to show you everything in today's video, so just keep watching. So before I get into the strategy, all the links for all the platforms that I'm going to mention in today's video are down in the description. You'll probably get either a discount in fees, yeah, mostly discount in fees. The strategy that we're going to use is, in simple terms, known as LPing or liquidity provision. Is just depositing into a liquidity pool, but there is a twist. This is not your regular Uniswap style liquidity pool. Well, I drew a swimming pool because I thought it was funny. The strategy itself is pretty simple. It's just depositing, right? So all we're gonna do is go into a pub desk, any of them, most of them have this, and deposit into their LP. For Hyperliquid, we have HLP. For Lighter, we have LLP. For Jupiter, we have JLP. You get the point. So right now, the JLP pool has 11% in APY, but keep in mind that this does keep changing according to the market conditions, whatever the pool happens to hold, and all that stuff. This was at a point like over 60, 70%, I think, last year when I deposited. I took this, went into Kamino, and deposited that there. So the yield just keeps stacking on top of one another that way. So since like JLP is like a token that you get, it's pretty easy to do this stacking in DeFi. So yeah, if you're just here for that, you can leave the video. But if you're not and want to understand the technicalities behind it and dive a little deeper into this topic so that you understand where you're putting your money, well, you can keep watching. So right, for Paradox, for example, we have the Giga Vault. This is the protocol's vault. We have one for extended as well. As I mentioned, Hyperliquid has their HLP vault. Although I heard that they are kind of looking to take this down. Don't know much about that. But yeah, Lighter has the LLP, which gives 845%. The HLP gives 83%. Well, Paradox is kind of low at 25%. Well, you get it. But let's try to understand a little more about these liquidity pools, right? So the core function is just so that these pools can act as a counterparty for the traders. But there is more to it. I'm gonna get into that. This is just the most basic way of doing. It's just a straight up counterparty for the traders. And obviously the composition differs. You can deposit and return. You get the LP tokens. And as I said, it dynamically rebalances its exposure via a smart contract. And what are the mechanisms each protocol have built regarding that? The revenue sources. The significant one is obviously the liquidations most of the times. And also, yeah, trading fees is another big one because they keep earning basically the fees for all the trades that are occurring on the platform. But there is a risk associated with this though, because like whenever there's like a liquidation cascade, like the one that we have seen, or something like very volatile or crazy happens, the risk and the capital is bear from this pool. So that is the use of this pool of money that they collect. So yeah, here are the risks. There's directional exposure, volatility risk. Oh, this is what I mentioned. Funding imbalance. Obviously, it could bleed the pool slowly. And there's obviously smart contract and oracle risks anytime you are doing anything on chain. So for example, on one of my favorite projects on Solana right now, Hylo, made me a bunch of money. I even made like two very short videos on this and posted a lot about it on Telegram. Anyways, they have this, right? For the high USD, this is where the yield comes from. They basically have this over collateralized pool of money for adjusting the risk and all that stuff. That is one of the like risks you have to face with these kinds of vaults. And by the way, if you want to join Hylo, it's I think invite only for now. I'm not really sure. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well, along with others. Right. Now, remember when I said there are like different things that they could do, and the most basic one is act as a sole counterparty to the traders? Well, variational, which is another pub dex. If you are into airdrop farming, this pub dexes, you should definitely get onto this. Just as a side tangent, made a whole another video on that platform. Feel free to scroll all the way down in the description and watch it. Or you can just join the Telegram for the invite codes. I might drop some whenever I have them. Anyway, let's get back onto the liquidity pool stuff. So they have their own OLP, the Omni Liquidity Provider, which is what does the market making stuff on this particular platform. And by the way, the mechanism behind variational is like different. It's not a glob like Hyperliquid, for example. So yeah, let's just keep that aside and strictly talk about this liquidity pools. So as you can see, HLP is not the sole counterparty to this trades that you take. They have their own sophisticated strategy, which is why sometimes when a lot of these liquidations happen, HLP makes a boatload of money. As you can see by this spike in the previous 30-day graph on the HLP vault. But JLP, on the other hand, acts as a sole counterparty to the trades. Since they're like fully on chain and stuff on Solana, that's kind of how that works. But yeah, you could like deposit into either one of these or all of these. Like LLP is a decent strategy, I would say, until the end of the year to make 45% APY, since like there's a lot of hype behind this and people are like pulling money into the platform. I don't know how this would perform after that though, so let's just put that aside. And if you decide to go into something like JLP, which isn't looking good right now, but you could obviously borrow USDC after you deposit into JLP, and you can then go into Kamino if you want to go to the safer route and earn yield on top of your USDC. Obviously, you need to keep the APR in check, basically the rate at which you're borrowing this USDC, and make sure you're earning more than that. But yeah, you could totally do that. Or you can directly deposit your JLP into the multiply loop strategy on Kamino. That is what I did for a long time last year. Apart from that, if you have any kind of questions, doubts, anything you want to ask me or add your opinion, just drop a comment. I almost always reply to all the comments. And yeah, make sure to check out the links and the videos, anything else that you want to check out, and that's it.